All right, so we're going to be focusing on large animals and their physiology. So that's how they look, their physical appearance. And we're going to talk about those first. Really, mainly livestock animals. So, whenever we talk about livestock, we're thinking about something that you've eaten. That was an animal product, is what we consider livestock, and poultry. We kind of put poultry to themselves, but they're still under the livestock umbrella. Poultry is going to be turkeys and chickens are the main ones. Some duck in America, but mainly it's chicken and then turkey, and then it goes duck and other fowl. Fowl is what we call birds, FOWL. So, livestock that you're going to eat, think of beef. Okay, beef comes from cattle. Cattle is probably the number one that people think of whenever they think of eating. Think of hamburgers. How many burgers you eat. So this says there are over around 100 million head of cattle in the United States. And cattle are separated into two different portions. We have dairy and we have beef cattle. So there are different breeds. Some are raised just for beef, so steaks, and some are raised just for milk. Um, like if you ever look at a Holstein, that's what the Chick-fil-A cow is, the black and white cow. To me, and to most beef eaters, it does not look as appetizing as an Angus, which is the black cow. Um, Dairy cattle, they're a little bit more bony. They don't have as much fat on them because they don't get the feed that beef cattle do. Beef cattle are designed to have more fat, more flavor, so that's why they're going to taste better. And they're not going to produce as much milk as the dairy breeds, so it's some give and take. Um, Small farms, with cattle, like I mentioned in lesson one, most people that raise animals, they, don't raise a lot. So ones with 1 to 49 head of cattle, that counts for almost 70% of the total cattle in the U.S. Um, but only 1.1% of farms raise 34.5% of the total number of cattle. So those are your really large feedlots and really large farmers, ranchers. They're typically in the central states. Texas is number one in beef cattle. Dairy cattle, think of dairy. It's most common in Wisconsin, California, Minnesota, and the Northeast. The panhandle of Texas, you'll see some dairies out in West Texas. Not as many as we used to, but Texas does have dairy cattle. Feedlots, we talked about that last lesson. Just know that feedlots are where cattle are sent to finish out to a desired weight until they go to slaughter. Okay, next we have pigs. So pigs are used for pork, obviously. So think of bacon, sausage, pork chops. All of that's coming from pigs. So it says inventory numbers are lowest in March and highest in September. So typically, you're going to have your new litters then in September. 5.78 million head were used for breeding in December 2010. 110.3 million were slaughtered in 2010. Hog operations has steadily decreased. However, the Midwest still reigns on pig production. Sheep. Sheep are smaller, so they're going to be the third most popular cattle. Texas is number one in sheep production as well. Sheep, they're kind of a trifecta. So they're raised for meat, they're raised for milk, and fiber, which is the wool. Okay, so we actually use the wool on the sheep. It's really common in Western and Central. Think of where you could not raise a cow or a horse. You can raise a sheep. Okay, same with a goat. They can survive in more extreme conditions. So it says in 2013, there are approximately 5.3 million head of sheep in the U.S. Goats, Texas is number one in goat production as well. There's not near as many. There's about 3 million in the U.S. Most are used for breeding, and more than 500,000 market goats and kids. Cuban meat goats is kind of running its course and decreasing, but populations of Angora goats, which are a special type of goat that has cashmere. So they have Angora. They have a different type of fur. I'm going to call it fur. It's like a wool. They're used for fiber. And there's milk goats. A lot more people are learning the health benefits of goat milk, so they're starting to raise dairy goats. But there are, I mean, in my area, there's definitely an increase of eating goat consumption just due to different cultures coming in. Okay, then we're on to poultry. So poultry production has increased tremendously. Um, we've kind of changed the game in poultry. So our chickens, 50 years ago, they don't look anything like the chickens that we have now. We are now producing way bigger chickens in less amount of time. So chickens are in two groups: broilers and layers. Broilers are for eating. Think of like you can broil on your oven. And layers, they lay eggs. So broilers are 2/3 of the poultry production, and so the other third is for egg production. It says that the average weight of chickens is 5.7 pounds, and they go to slaughter, and that's at 6 weeks old. So a chicken grows very fast. Don't think a 6 week old is a newborn. That's just how fast chickens grow. As for laying chickens, it takes them about um, 4 months, 4 to 5 months to lay. All right, so let's talk about the anatomy and physiology briefly about large animals. So they're all kind of similar, but they do differentiate. Um, Pigs and humans, this is why some cultures will not eat pork, they won't eat pigs because they are pretty similar. We use pigs a lot for science to study the human anatomy. We have the same digestive tract, and people have, like scientists have used pig parts, so like parts of the aorta, parts of the heart, valves. They've actually successfully put into humans, and humans have accepted them. So it's pretty neat. So the digestive system. Most farm animals are ruminants. So if an animal eats mostly grass, it's going to typically be a ruminant. Cattle, goats, and sheep. So they have a unique digestive system. They have one stomach, but they have four parts in that stomach. So a lot of people may try to trick you and say the ruminant has four stomachs. No, they don't. They have four parts within that stomach. So there's the four parts. They have the rumen, reticulum, omasum, and abomasum. So the rumen is the storage. That's why it's the largest. Inside the rumen, it kind of looks like a shag carpet. So, and on this little carpet look features are bacteria, special bacteria, very microscopic bacteria, and they live in the rumen. What they do is they help to obtain nutrients from that grass. So, like if we ate grass all the time, we would be malnourished because our bodies cannot convert that into energy. They can't convert that into nutrition. Cows can because they have a rumen. Then you've got the reticulum. You can see there's little spots in it. The reticulum is a reticulum. It's called the honeycomb stomach because look at it resembles a honeycomb. It really catches all the bad stuff. So cows, they're not the smartest. Goats aren't the smartest. They may eat a balloon. They may eat nails. They may eat something. It's going to get caught in the reticulum. So it kind of catches all the bad stuff. Then you have the omasum. Someone calls it the Bible because it looks like pages of the Bible. It's got different layers in it. This is just where it further goes to digest till it gets to the abomasum. The abomasum right here is the true stomach. So this is where the stomach acid is. This is where your body starts to absorb, or their body starts to absorb the nutrients. The abomasum is like our stomach. Okay? So make sure you know the parts. One cool thing about the rumen, if you ever see a cow or a goat and it looks like they're chewing gum, it's really their cud. So what they're going to do is they're going to chew some grass and swallow it. Then they throw it back up, regurgitate it, and they chew it again slowly and then swallow it again. Pretty gross, but it's a sign whenever cattle are chewing their cud that they're calm and they're content. Okay. Pigs, they're like us. They can eat meat and vegetables. So they're omnivores. They eat a variety. They don't eat grasses. They're not going to graze. Okay, you may see pigs roaming around and you think they graze. They're rooting. Okay, they're digging for insects. A lot of people use pigs to hunt truffles, which are those really expensive mushroom root variety that lives under the ground in like Great Britain and in the Northwest. Okay, so people use pigs for that because they root around. But they don't graze. They don't eat grass like that because they don't have the stomach for it, just like us.